Hi, this is Hank. I'm going to give a little tutorial on what kind of electric screwdriver or drill you should buy, and it really depends on what your task is going to be. So I'm going to show you your standard DeWalt cordless screwdriver drill. Then I'll demonstrate an impact driver. It also happens to be a DeWalt cordless impact driver. And then I have just a real generic tool shop brand hammer drill. So there are specific reasons when you need to use the hammer drill, or you need to use the impact driver, or you need to use the higher quality drill. So I'm going to give a little demonstration on all three of these items. Okay, I have a masonry bit that I have taped off. That's the depth that I'm going to go to. I'm going to demonstrate the masonry bit in just a regular cordless drill, and then we're going to compare that to the much less expensive hammer drill, and we're going to show you why in some cases the hammer drill would be a better option. So I've got just a chunk of concrete block here. I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, go, and I'm drilling. I'm not getting anywhere. If you do have to use a regular drill to drill into concrete, you don't have a hammer drill, one common mistake is to go too fast, too long. Then your drill bit just overheats and gets really dull, and then you don't get anywhere. So I didn't even get a 1/4 inch in all that time using the standard drill. Now I'll chuck up the same drill bit in this inexpensive hammer drill. And by the way, when you're chucking a drill with a key chuck like this, you need to insert the key in all 3 holes at least once. It will not stay tight if you just try to go with 1 hole. No matter how hard you turn it, you really need to put the chuck key in 1 hole, turn it, put it in the next hole, turn it. I usually go around a couple of times. Same bit, which is arguably even more dull now. I'm going to put this in the hammer selection. One, 2, 3, go. Okay, made it to my mark in just a few seconds. So even though this is a much less quality drill, it has a special feature that you need when you're going to drill into masonry or stone. Even though you have the correct bit, you've got to have that hammer action. What that is, it's an up and down motion on the back of the mechanism that just kind of breaks up the stone as the drill turns. It makes a huge difference in how quickly you can drill a hole. This drill, I'm sure I paid less than $30 for it. I just checked online. Menards has the same drill for $19 right now. So it's not an expensive item, whereas a DeWalt cordless drill like this will run you over $100. Even just because it's a better drill, it doesn't have the feature that you're looking for. So that's hammer drill. So if you could only afford to buy 1 drill and you were going to ever use masonry, you need the hammer drill. You can also drive screws with this drill. You can also use this inexpensive drill to drive screws. I've just chucked up a bit holder, and I can drive a screw with this. You have to turn it off the hammer mode. I can drive a screw with this drill, but it's a little more awkward to handle. It's heavier. This one does pretty good. So you can do that, but you've got the cord to deal with. So if you really want to drive a lot of screws, you might go with one of the cordless options. One thing about the inexpensive drills, if you're going to drive a lot of screws, the bearings aren't usually as good. It's not as smooth. A lot of times you don't have a lot of good control on your speed. Always get a variable speed, which this one is, but even at that, a lot of the variable speeds in the cheaper tools don't give you that really slow start you may need. But this one amazingly did really well, but it's still so heavy I wouldn't want to go driving a whole lot of screws with this drill. Now the cordless drill screwdriver, this is a great option if you're using it for drilling. It's perfect for that. Variable speed. It's also got a variable torque on it, which is a feature that I always like to get if you're driving screws. You can set your torque back so you don't over countersink them. So it's a little easier to handle. Smoother drive, you can just feel a difference. That's what happens when you have the torque turned down too low. Go ahead and turn that up. But it goes in nice and smooth, in and out. Pretty good option. You can use it to drill and you can use it to drive screws. So I'm going to do a little thing here. The next thing I'm going to show is the impact driver. So I'm going to show you how long it takes to drive a screw with this drill. I'll get it started first. Okay. We're going to go 1, 2, 3, go. Drove it pretty good. It's really a pretty soft piece of wood. Pretty good drill. The third tool you might want if you're going to just be driving screws is the impact driver. What this does is applies impact to the rotational motion, and it really makes driving screws easy. So we'll get it started and 1, 2, 3, go. Now the advantage to this one, the speed may have been a little faster. We'll compare the videos and see, but much less effort. On this type of driver, you have to be sure you're putting downward force to make sure that your bit doesn't slip. Sometimes if you have a hard to drive screw, you got to really get into it. And if you're working overhead, that can really be stressful. Strain your muscles trying to work overhead and really push with both hands. The impact driver just takes way less effort. You can, once you get started here, you don't have to hold a lot of downward force on the bit. It rarely will slip out. I can just barely hold onto this thing. And if you're driving a lot of screws, this is definitely the way to go. Once you've driven screws with an impact driver, you won't go back to driving them with a drill. So if you need to drill holes and drive screws and can only buy one thing, cordless drill, better name brands, DeWalt, Milwaukee, whatever the more expensive name brands are, usually have better bearings, smoother action, better control on your variable speed, as opposed to a off-brand cordless drill that may not even be variable speed. So it's worth the extra money to get a top name brand for your drill. If you're just driving screws or even small bolts, you can put sockets on this and use it to loosen rusty bolts or whatever. Impact driver is a must. If you're drilling into masonry, or if you just don't have a lot of money you want to spend on a cordless drill, this will get the job done. If you're going into masonry, this is a must-have tool. I don't care how much money you spend on a smooth action drill, you're not going to get good results drilling into masonry compared to just a cheap old hammer drill. So that's my recommendations on drills. Masonry, driving screws, inexpensive, bulky, heavy, Wouldn't want to drive a lot of screws with it. You can drill holes with it, obviously, as well. Drilling holes, driving screws, smooth action, better balanced. Nice tool to have. If you're just driving screws, so you're building a deck or something, you got to get an impact driver. They are so much easier for driving screws.